House to Home, presented by RE/MAX Diamond Realty.
It is Tuesday, which means we are talking about the markets and the real estate market in general. So Liz and Gina from RE/MAX Diamond Realty join me as they do each and every week. Ladies, half a day. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Jace.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you're joining us. And I'd like to talk today, ladies, if we can, something that we don't normally cover, but it's about market correction, right? The real estate industry being what it is, is subject obviously to natural economic factors. And with the two of you being in the private sector, you can kind of, coerce that or, have some sort of, direct impact on how the market works and everything. The situation with the real estate market right now, other media have made mention of this, is that, if you're ultra rich, you can afford a home. If you're not doing so well and you're on the lower end of the income spectrum, there are public programs that will assist you. The mid-range market has kind of fallen out, and Gina, you're the expert on this. So would you say that this is a cycle, this is a condition, this is a problem that the market cannot naturally correct itself in this case?
I won't say that the market can't correct itself, because it's cyclic. The cycle goes up, it comes down, it goes up. That's
ebbs and flows.
Yeah, so it's a cyclic. Okay. But in our current condition, it was, exacerbated by the lack of contractors, the work and the military work that's going on is drawing most of the contractors that are out there. We weren't able to get the visa waivers approved, but recently they're able to start getting the visa waivers for the workers to come in. Our market has dropped in terms of the limitation of houses because of those current situations. When the military buildup calms down, and things are in place, maybe there may be a balance where the contractors start to come back and build regular homes. But in the meantime, our local market is suffering because there's a lack of inventory. Prices have gone up. If you're looking for a house right now, you're going to have to spend between $500 and $600, even to the tune of $700. That hasn't happened in a while, right, Gina? I mean,
and which prices out the average Guamanian, right, in terms of income, and yeah, right.
Well, they're saying our average income for Guam is $380,000. That's averaging it across, but the reality is, if you're going to buy, if you look in the 400 price range, the ones you will find are fixer-uppers, where fixer-uppers used to be in the 2s and 3s, and now they've hiked up to the 4s. And if you really want to buy a new home or something decent, you're looking at the 5s and 6 range. So it's yeah, go ahead, Gina.
I mean, in the 5 and 6 range, Jace, I want to explain to you in dollars and cents what that means.
Sure.
Let's just cut it in half and say that you're doing an average of 10% down, which even at 10%, people right now are they're having a hard time with that. But let's just say the average buyer can do 10% down. There's programs out there at 10% down, 550. So 5 and 6, we're in the middle. Your mortgage payment in that price range, based on I think the interest rate as of now is about 5%. Mm-hmm. Your mortgage payment, not counting taxes and insurance, which are mandatory, you have to cover that, is $2,657 a month. So think about it that way. If that's the average, if that's where you need to be in order to afford buying a home right now, and the mortgage payment, we're going to have to bump that up to $2,800 to cover taxes and insurance, because in that price line, your taxes and insurance is going to bump up this $2,657 to approximately $2,800 a month.
Even for a dual income family, that's a lot of money.
A lot.
Jace, it's a lot of money. That's exactly.
Plus, you've also got to eat. You need transportation to get around. You've got utilities, and not even factoring those. Oh my goodness.
Absolutely, and that is why Liz and I are feeling like this is absolutely a crisis, because what this means is the working class families are now ousted out of buying a home, so they're forced to actually rent. Now let's talk about that market, because for people who own investment properties and they've converted those to rentals, maybe you happen to buy up and moved into a bigger home or whatever, the cost of maintaining that home and leaving it on the market as a rental has gone up for you as well. Because this issue with labor and shortage of materials, it has affected you, the landlord, also. And I don't know, I mean, I do know some landlords who've kept their rents low in their desire to help the local working class community. And when I say local, I don't mean Guam, people from Guam. I don't mean Chamorros. I mean, we live here as a community.
Right.
That's what I mean by local. We're in this melting pot we call Guam, and we call it home. And those are the locals that I'm referring to. So some of our landlords, and it's not that many that can afford to make this decision, but some of them have said, listen, what do you believe the local community can afford? And we've shared that information, and they've said, you know what? I can afford to do something to help. Let's keep the rents here instead of where the market is, which is here. So if you can't afford to pay $2,800 a month because you can't afford to buy what's in the market today, what are you going to do? You're going to rent. But if most of the landlords are responding to the increased cost of labor, material, and upkeep of their property, then their rents are going up too. So now where does that leave our community? And that's why we're saying it's a crisis. And can this crisis just resolve itself? Absolutely not. We need intervention from where? Well, honestly, from the government sector first, from our government, from our leaders first. And then as the leaders respond and put things in place that is going to help, the private sector eventually steps in and says, okay, we can see that the government is proactive. They're doing something that's going to help. So maybe I'm a contractor and I take a look at what the government's doing, what the government's offering. And I say, you know what, let me take advantage of that. Let me step in and build. But it's not going to happen without a whole bunch of people getting together. And I believe it starts with the government.
So you're saying if the natural economic laws of supplies and demand don't naturally balance themselves out, we need public policy to kind of like give it a little bit of a nudge. In this case, probably a substantial nudge.
We need some help because there are people out there, they can't buy, but they have land, but they're restricted with what is doable with their piece of property. So in that respect, because of our current crisis, if there's probably a short-term waiver during this crisis period where these individuals can get building permits to build on their properties, that would definitely help. Because right now, you can't buy anything unless if you build, but then of course, the contractors, once they start to finish off the work and we're able to get more contractors on island, they're able to build these houses. And again, even the supplies have gone up. So I just inspected a house yesterday, and this seller has it set up where there are 3 separate living areas in this home, so that if I bought it and I wanted my kids to live in it, there's a way to make it happen. So I think that's what's going to be happening in our community, where they're doing multiple living arrangements because they can't afford to go elsewhere. Mm-hmm. So, it's happening right now, regardless of what the zone is. Multiple families are normally zone R2, but we're seeing more right now that are not in that classification, but they're setting up the living arrangements to allow for other family members to occupy the home.
So like you were saying, Liz, with the natural ebbs and flows and, the cyclical nature of economic cycles, in this case, this particular cycle just might be stretched out a little bit because of some, frankly, some extraordinary situations.
Yeah, we're just hoping that our legislators and the government would assist to some degree, because just think about it. We're bringing in contract workers as well. These contract workers are also vying for housing. And if they can't get into a barracks, where are they going to go? Exactly. They're going to displace our local market. So there's got to be a way to make it work for everyone.
You know, the thing that I want to point out is, as leaders in the community, you cannot wait until the crisis is over the top and then you try to react to it. It doesn't work that way. Being in the business community, Liz and I are, you know, we have the habit of anticipating what's going to happen with our company. Like, we try to project that forward. Okay, this is going on in the community. What does that mean? Well, how does that impact our business? Like, when COVID started, this is going on this is happening around the globe, and in Guam, these are the restrictions that are coming down. What does the company need to do to support our employees and make things, you know, keep things from shutting down, continue to take care of the people that we have, that we work with? And we make decisions based on that. We anticipate and we make decisions and we implement decisions. And then if we see, oh, wow, you know, things aren't as bad as we thought, okay, then we'll make other changes. But we respond to the need based on what's going on. And we, you know, Liz and I are just encouraging the government. We are already in the midst of this crisis. Our working class families here have nowhere to turn. And we're just encouraging that the government look at that now. Maybe they're already looking at it, but look at it, put in a plan that can work, reach out to the private sector, because we're out here. We see more what's going on in the community than the government sector does, probably. I mean, they're busy with their own thing, but we are talking to the people in the community. We live amongst them. We run our business. So we feel that we know what's going on, and we can, you know, the private sector can share in this problem solving, but, you know, it has to be more than talk. It has to be more than deliberation. It has to be more than studies. We need to get to the point of actually putting policy and putting solutions in place and moving those forward, whether you're up for election or not. We don't give a crap. Let's do something to help now, not after the election, when you get elected, not before. You know, I don't want to hear, well, you know, we can't do much because of the election. BS. You can do a lot because you're still in office, as far as I'm concerned, until December, and you might get reelected. So let's be positive. Let's think you're going to get reelected, and let's step in and come up with solutions right now. Anyway, that's how I feel.
Preach on. Well, and okay, I guess we'll end with this, ladies, because, you know, and I appreciate how the fact that you guys have actually framed this in an economic context. But, you know, the one thing they say about economic cycles is always on the flip side of a bust is a boom. So hopefully better days are ahead. Yeah. But as you pointed out, you know, it's going to take a little bit of a sweat equity and elbow grease from our friends that work in the public sector. So Liz, Gina, thank you as always. And Gina, thank you for not using really, really strong language. we could have gone way deeper on this one. So
I would have brought it out.
Yeah, I'm gonna cut this off before we tempt the other government agency, the FCC. So thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.